Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 43 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. And today is one of those days where I wish that I had done my writing on my video before I went to work, because I didn't want to do it when I came home from work. So now I'm up later than I want to be because I didn't do my writing. And in all honesty, I think on my to-do list today, I put write something. And um, when I'm like, okay, I'm too tired and too sore, I can't move, I have to write something so I can do my video. I just literally went into my book, Recognizing God's Hand for in my life, and I just typed up some notes, like ideas of things that I want to change in the book or stories that I want to add, possible stories to remove, and that was just kind of like organizational notes, sort of a thing. It's not really an outline of any kind. It's just random thoughts that have popped into my head that I'm like, okay, I'm going to put these down here so I remember them, and then I can try to figure out where to incorporate them later. So that's what I did. I probably spent like 5 minutes doing that because I just was not writing today, but I'm like, I wanted to write something because I don't want to miss my days, especially since I made it to day 43. It would be really sad to have to start over right now or to just quit. Um, but I really wished I'd done it before work. I had the time before work. I was just tired and being lazy, and I do that. I do that, and I haven't journaled for a few days, and I think that kind of affects my attitude too. And I need to be journaling again. That would definitely help me. Um, but I feel like I need to talk about things that I'm grateful for. I know I did my 100 days of gratitude, but I posted something on Facebook and Twitter tonight too because I feel very blessed for the little miracles in my life, and I'm grateful to be able to see the miracles in my life, and to see the changes that I'm making, whether it be through my writing or through these videos, um, in myself and my responses to situations. Several years ago, I'm trying to think back in 2014, 6 years ago, the end of December, like right before New Year's, I was in a car accident, and I remember just bawling my eyes out. Like I was just like the shock and everything. I just started crying, and I couldn't stop crying. And I was calm. It was weird because I was crying, but I was calm. I knew exactly what I had to do. I talked to the police officer. I handed him. He's like, "When you're calm down, like, you can get your insurance, your ID." I'm like, "Here you go. Here's my insurance. Here's my ID." And I'm bawling the whole time. I'm just I'm a total mess. Um, and I was a little bit hurt, and the accident wasn't my fault. It was someone else's. The other person got the ticket. Um, they didn't have insurance. It was a nightmare, the whole thing. Um, anyway, that was like 6 years ago. And tonight, nothing as dramatic as that car accident happened, but it was still an accident. I was sitting at a light, and someone decided to rear end me. And I just kind of felt like this jolt, and I was like, what the heck? And then I'm like, I look in my rearview mirror, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody just hit me. And I'm like, I start shaking a little bit, and I felt like I wanted to cry, and I didn't cry. I'm not sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, all right, I just called 911 because I didn't want to get out of my car. I'm like, I don't want somebody to randomly hit me. I don't want to go have some confrontation with someone I don't know. I'm just gonna like call 911 and see what happens, find out what I'm supposed to do, right? So I'm on the phone talking to the operator, 911, and then I feel like my car just kind of bounced a little bit. The dude backed up and drove around me and took off. And I'm like, okay, so I'm talking to the 911 operator, and I'm telling him this whole thing, and I got a glimpse at the license plate, but the operator was asking me some other random questions, so I got distracted by the other questions and didn't read the plate, and of course, I'm not going to memorize it. And then she's like, did you get any part of the plate number, like, after they were long gone? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I think I'm still in shock. I'm kind of shaking because somebody just hit my car. I didn't get a chance to get out and see the damage or anything that had happened to me. I was just kind of freaking out a little bit. And then, of course, she got the information she needed. I pulled into a parking lot, told her where I was at. She said she was going to send an officer. I get off the phone. I get out, and I look at my car, and it doesn't look like anybody hit me. I was just like, I know somebody hit me. I'm in shock. I felt my car like move and bounce, and there was somebody there. Like, you could hear it, you could feel it. Like, somebody hit you with the bumper car. And then, it bounced again. But I remembered after the police officer left, I had to wait for him to come and then kind of talk to him. And basically, he told me there's no damage done, and if there's no damage done and nobody's hurt, then they don't file a report. Not sure I'm 100% not hurt. I wasn't feeling it then, but the later it gets, I'm feeling a little bit of whiplash right now. So I'm just kind of like, oh, I really hope I'm not like stiff and sore or wake up with a headache or something in the morning. Kind of left work a little bit early tonight because I was just feeling very sore. Hoping it's just from driving too much and not from or sitting too much or something and not from the accident. But I remember from before when I had my accident that like you feel the sorest or the worst like 3 or 4 days after the actual accident. You don't actually feel all of that because your body does that whole shock absorber thing, and then it kind of sets in, and then you're like moving and doing stuff, and so it kind of don't always feel it immediately. So it's kind of like, well, no police report, nothing I can do about it, no reason to file it with the insurance company or whatever. I'll be okay. But I was just grateful that I was okay. I'm grateful that my car wasn't damaged. And as I was thinking about it later, I realized that it was like one of those lowrider cars. And I think they literally, like when they hit me, it like just lifted, like that car went under mine. So it kind of just lifted the bumper a little bit. And so when they backed up, my car just kind of went back down, which is why I could feel them back up. So I imagine it did more damage to their car because there really wasn't any to mine, or if it was like scraped underneath the bumper and you're not going to see it. So I was like, well, that was dumb of them, I guess. They just wrecked their own car. But I thought about it as I was like driving later, and after I talked to some friends and stuff, I was like, I could have got really upset about it. I could have been thinking about how it's just another time where someone in my life has like hurt me and they don't have to suffer the consequences. They get off scot-free. And none of those things like actually entered my mind originally. Those were thoughts that kind of popped up later. And then I was like, well, why are they popping up now? I don't need to entertain those thoughts. So to me, I think the biggest miracle, the biggest change in myself is that I recognized how lucky I was to not have my car be damaged, to not be shaking and freaking out about driving. Because 6 years ago, I was a nervous wreck. By the time I could get back behind the wheel of my car, I was like, and every time some car would pull up to a light or sideways, I would tense and freak out. And I kept driving. I was fine. I said a prayer. I was shaking for a little bit, and then I was like, I need to do something. I need to get my mind off of something. So I went into the store, walked around for a little bit, bought some stuff I need for Christmas presents, and got back in my car, and I'm like, I'm okay. And I could breathe, and I was calm, and it was, went back to work, and I was fine, and I wasn't shaking. I wasn't freaking out every time some car pulled up next to me. I wasn't like in shock anymore, and I wasn't like angry or upset. I was grateful that there was no damage done to my car. I was grateful that I could go back to work. I was grateful that it didn't ruin the rest of my day or the rest of my night. And I was just and I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking how grateful I am to have that change thought process, that all of this gratitude I've been doing, all of this writing, all of this work that I've been doing, even if it doesn't, hopefully it will result in a published book at some point. But even if it doesn't, it has made an impact on who I am and how I respond to things. And instead of being angry or upset or all of those things I could have been, I was grateful for all the things that didn't happen. For the fact that my car wasn't damaged, that I could still work, that I could still move, that I wasn't like in a ton of pain. Just feeling so blessed, so loved, feeling like I was being protected. Like God was just looking out for me tonight, and I just needed that little reminder again that He is there, that He is aware of me, and that He's taking care of me, even though it doesn't always feel like it, or even though it's not necessarily how I would want. Can't control what other people do, but I can control how I respond to it. And tonight I think I did a great job responding, and I was so surprised. And then when the negative thoughts came later, like hours later, I was like, I thought about it for a minute and I was like, well, yeah, this can relate to this in my past or this in my past. And I was like, but why? I don't need to keep bringing that up. I don't need to keep rehashing that. I don't need to add that to whatever that was. I don't need to be angry for the rest of my night. And I don't think that I realized that I guess I let those things go. Like it didn't bother me anymore. And that to me is another miracle because things that I'd been holding on to for all of this time, and I've been talking about them in my videos and I've been writing them in my book, and now the time where, another traumatic event happens and it usually connects to the old events. And when it came up to connect to an old event, I was like, there's nothing to connect it to. There's no point to connecting it. There's no point in holding on to it. Like, I can just let it go. And that is, to me, is the biggest miracle for me, to just be like, I can let it go. And I can let God take care of it. And I hope the other person that hit me is okay. I hope there's not too much damage done to that person's car. I don't know if it was a man or woman. I don't know if they had multiple people in their car. I'm grateful I was the only person in my car when it happened. Wasn't on my way anywhere important when it happened. Just grateful that it worked out okay, and grateful that I'm okay, that my car is okay, and just, and then of course coming home because I just feeling stiff and sore and not wanting to write. I'm grateful I can kind of come up with something to type up some ideas for my stories. And I was also out driving around tonight and thinking I need something happier or more fun to write about, and I need to write down the ideas that I was coming up with, but more story ideas for The Boy from the Stone, because that story is fun. That character is fun, and I was like, I like writing that story because he's just much more lighthearted, and a lot of the stuff I write isn't. But it's kind of fun that I can see the good things, I can see the blessings, and I can come up with like fun ideas, something fun to think about, something fun to daydream about, something fun to write about. It doesn't all have to be dark and dreary and that cloud that's been hanging over me like most of my life, because I didn't know that I could get rid of it. I didn't know that through the atonement that cloud can disappear and that the sun can shine in my life, and I can see the good things, and the bad things don't have to overshadow all the good things. And it felt like that in my life growing up, that all the good things got overshadowed by all the bad things, and the bad things were just so horrible. And doing this writing, doing these videos, it's taking away the power from all of the bad things, the shadow things. And so now when they kind of popped up tonight, it was kind of like, why? I don't need that. I have been blessed. I'm alive. My car isn't broken. I'm not broken. I can still work. I don't need to add that to something else. I don't need to be vengeful or I don't know, feeling victimized or angry that the other person didn't get punished. So it was like, they have to live with themselves for what they did. They're going to have to deal with whatever damage is done to their car or whatever pain that's caused because they hit me. Probably worse than, because I think when you're more relaxed, like, not that I drink, but I know drunk people are usually like relaxed, which is why they can walk away from horrible accidents because their body doesn't do the whole whiplash thing. And I was stopped at a red light and didn't realize there was some car coming up behind me. So I wasn't like totally tensed when I got hit. But I remember the accident I had like 6 years ago. I could see the accident coming and I hit the brakes, but I couldn't stop fast enough because somebody turned in front of me. And I'm like, I can't stop. I don't know why you turned in front of me. So that was the accident before. So it wasn't my fault, but it felt like it was because I hit the other car. Wouldn't have hit him if they hadn't turned in front of me and I had the right of way. But anyway, tonight, again, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just sitting there. But yes, it is a reminder, bad things do happen to good people. It doesn't matter what we do. Other people have their agency and their choices, but God can still protect me, and he still protects his children. He takes care of us no matter what the situation, and it may not always be the outcome we want, but if we look, even in what seems like a traumatic situation or something that could be devastating. I could have let it ruin the whole rest of my night. And probably 6 months ago, I would have. I would have probably let it ruin an entire week. And I was probably shaky and freaking out for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, called a couple of friends. No one was available, said a prayer, went shopping, felt better. My friends called me back and I was working, and then I called them back and they're like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good now. I don't need to talk. It's done. It's over. I'm okay." And it just made me very grateful for the power of prayer, and very grateful for the gifts that I have in my life, and very grateful to see the atonement working in my life, and to see the responses that I'm having, that it's a more positive response, I think, than I've had in the past, than I would have had before I started any of my YouTube videos, or working on myself and working towards my writing and working through letting go of things, and to realize that I've actually been letting go of stuff. I didn't realize that I was letting go of things. And then I was at a point tonight where I was like, I don't want to add something to my weight, to my bag of stuff to carry around. I'm like, it's not worth it. I don't need it. I'm good. I'm good. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I didn't want to have to spend the night rehashing or getting angry and frustrated about something I have no control over, and that I could see the positive things in life. And I'm grateful that gratitude can do that, that God can do that, that God is there protecting me, that He's in my life. And that is why I'm writing my book, and that's why I titled it Recognizing God's Hand in My Life, because it's going back and seeing the traumatic events in my life, very much like this car accident tonight, and realizing that in spite of the fact that I was hit emotionally or physically, there's no permanent damage that was done. It's not visible any longer, and whatever internal damage was done, the Savior can heal through the atonement, and it all gets washed away, and I don't have to carry it around anymore. I don't have to feel weighed down by past hurts, past traumas. I don't have to let it cloud my judgment. I don't have to let it cloud my day or my view or my perspective anymore. I can let the sun shine in my life. I can see the positive. I can see the happy. I can be happy. And I don't have to wait for some unknown day when all of the stuff that I'm doing culminates together and I'm finally like free, or finally happy, or finally whatever it is that I'm looking for. I can find it in today. I can find it in the moment. And I'm grateful for that realization and the opportunity this accident gave me to have a different perspective, a different viewpoint, and to once again recognize God's hand in my life. And I know that He's there looking out for me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I know that He's there for everyone else too, not just me. And I don't know how that works, but I know it works, and I'm grateful that it does. And that's all I have for today. And I just hope that if you're watching these videos, I hope that helps, and I hope you know that God is there looking out for you too, and protecting you in ways that you're probably not even aware of if you're not looking for it. And I'm grateful I could see it tonight. And that's pretty much all I have for tonight. So if you like, you can hit like, share. You can hit like, subscribe. There we go. You can share with someone else if you think they will like it too, or can benefit from it. And just know there's a way up, there's a way out, there is hope through the Savior Jesus Christ. And I hope you all have a great day full of gratitude.